Hey, welcome back to the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. This is Mark, and we are going to take you guys on a journey. You're going to get to know a little bit more about Latasha in this video and her fetish for Barbie. And of course, we're going to try to start telling our story on why we're here in South Africa.
Hello everyone, it's Latasha Blanton from the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism, and today I want to take you guys inside my Barbie / Puma room, so come on inside with me. So a Barbie room / Puma room is something I wanted from the first time I bought my own house back when I was in my 20s, and I tried to replicate that. Every house I've ever had, I was like, I gotta have a room just for my dolls. But this time I was actually able to make that come to fruition, and I want to show you guys some of my Barbies. So I mostly collect black Barbies. There are a couple of non-black Barbies in there, but these are some of my favorites that were able to be made to the display. They all have a little bit of a story, but I won't bother you with the stories of each of them because they all mean something special to me. One of my newest dolls up there you saw was a Mariah Carey doll. Of course, Barbie every now and then will put together dolls for celebrities and sell them, and she was one of the ones. But one of my most recent ones that I absolutely love is this Barbie signature Gem Fantasy collection. And the reason why I love her is because she is a Barbie signature, and there's only 20,000 of them. So I feel special to know that she has a serial number on the back. So I know I feel good about having her. So yeah, so she's gorgeous. Take a look at her. I mean, the dress is awesome, jewelry's popping, like she is something. I know people have asked like why I love Barbie so much, and I'll give you a little bit of a backstory. So first Barbie was around 3, and I just recognized that she could do anything. So black or white, when the first black one came out in 80, which I also have, I have the 40th anniversary of her doll. She's actually right here. I'm gonna show her to you right here. So that's the 40th anniversary one of the first black Barbie. So once I noticed how Barbie could be anything, that was pretty much a catalyst for me to feel like she can do anything and I can do anything. So that's why I love Barbie so much. Now, I'm gonna fast forward to my Pumas. That's a whole nother story, which I will share for another day. But today I want to show you 2 of my most favorite pairs. I'm gonna start with the ones on my feet. So these are the Moon Phases Puma, okay? And it's in the style of an Easy Rider, which probably means nothing to most of you, but that's what this is. And the Moon Phases, I'm excited about it because this was the last pair in the country and I got them. So I feel really special about that. And then this next pair is an RS. I know you guys hear me talk about my RSXs all the time, but it's a running system Puma. And I love this Puma. This one I saw on a lady's foot walking through Kyalami Corner one day, and I hunted for this shoe until I found it. And I love this Puma. She's gorgeous. So yeah, so I have tons of RSs, at least about 6 or 7 pairs, but that's one of my newest pairs and one of my favorites. So you've had a little glimpse into the 2 things that I love, Barbie and Puma, and they're all in one room. And I thank you guys for watching.
Hey everybody, this is Mark Blanton, and this is obviously
Dr. Latasha Blanton.
And we're from the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism based here in Johannesburg. Anything you want to say?
I am, I'm excited, but I'm always excited. It is going straight into springtime here. The weather has been amazing, so that's always a reason to smile. We never have bad weather here. It's always sunny in sunny South Africa, but that's why I'm smiling today.
And of course, you guys had a chance to get to know a little bit more about Tasha. I know we don't kind of, do a lot of, this is who we are type things. And so you guys saw Tasha's Barbie room. What do you think? Obviously, you can leave, comments at the bottom. And then, of course, she has a passion for Puma. And it's been a long time since I've known her. I think I met her, I was 37.
Don't put yourself
Yeah, I was 37, and the years have flown by, but we've had a lot of good years, and whatnot. So it's been good, and of course, getting the opportunity to speak to you guys is cool. But it's funny because just today, and I was like, let's talk about it. Just today, we talked about our don't know, a passion for South Africa,
Our passion for South Africa, our experiences here in South Africa that led
what
us
happened?
Yeah, we were talking about like what actually happened, and it's funny because, you know, if you try to draw dots, it seems like nothing happened in the middle, but a lot of things happened in the middle, and that's what we were talking about. So we each have our own versions of what happened to us, like mentally, for us to have buttons click and things turn and thought processes change. I'm just grateful that in the midst of his thought processes, the way he was behaving, the way he was thinking changed, mine changed, and then those changes put us on a path to be here in South Africa. So we're gonna share a little bit of the experiences that actually led us to this point. But I think the most important thing is that it all started with what we always ask you guys to do. It started with a visit, and we'll take it from there. So,
yeah, I don't even know where to start because, you know, obviously, you know, we, you know, we're no different than anyone else. Matter of fact, let me start here. You know, you guys have been probably, if you've been following us, you see that my older sister, she's here, her husband's here. And then of course his mother, she's here, and you know, she's settling in pretty well.
She's doing a phenomenal job. I mean, to be 89, she is so with it, and she is so happy to be here. We're happy to have her too.
Yeah, and it wasn't her first trip. She came on several trips, but she had pulled me to the side the other day, and she said, you know, I never thought that I would actually be living here. And she said, I wasn't a person that was like, I want to go back to Africa and all these great, wonderful things. But she's like, but I'm here and I'm acclimating pretty well, and I'm just so excited to being here in South Africa. So that kind of started my, you know, I mean, we know how we got here. We can name dates, and then this happened next, and then that happened next. But then we started talking to each other like what actually happened, because you know, so I kind of started in our conversation about watching the an old documentary called Blacks Without Borders, Living the American Dream in South Africa. Mm-hmm. So we can talk about, we saw it and this is what we were thinking, but then it was funny, we never really talked about how it really made us feel. Mm-hmm. You know, mm-hmm. So we watched it and we talked about what we saw, but then from my perspective, I was like, wow, like black people can do these things?
Right. You started thinking, like, is that a possibility?
And but that's how I felt. I kind of, you know, they put it together very well. So I started feeling something. I started. That's when it started. But did it make me want to say, okay, I'm going to move to South
Absolutely
Africa?
Not. No. Absolutely not. I know when I saw it, my first thoughts and my first feelings were, man, they left America? Like what would really cause you to do that? And then you start thinking, well, there must be something, but not enough to make me think, I still didn't even really want to visit. Like, it still wasn't.
Yeah, it was a nice feel good thing. We saw it. We was like, you know, this is incredible. You know, and at that time, you know, we was newly married. Yeah. And
like 3 years in. Maybe.
Yeah, well, newly married. And the way I see it was that, how can I say it? You know, it's kind of hard to even. It's really hard to explain. But I would say it dropped a little egg in there, a little something that said, this is interesting.
I see it for me as the first seed that was planted about South Africa. And about Africa as a whole, because you guys will hear me say 100 times over prior to, you know, him coming here for his job and us seeing the video and my first visit here, South Africa was not Africa. Africa was not on my radar because of the things that we're all told about it. And to get to a place where you actually make the decision to come, just deciding to come. So even seeing that video, my first thought was, oh, okay, well they went to Africa.
Yeah, that's nice.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah.
And then as we continue to watch, and I saw all the stories about how they were able to be successful, I'm like, they did that in Africa, and I'm like, oh, it must just be like a thing. But it didn't put anything. They just planted a seed that I kind of ignored.
Yeah, and I think they didn't really meant to put it on TV, to be honest, because we only saw it that one time. Then we looked for it, couldn't find it. I was trying to, because I wanted to see it again, and then remember, I think I bought the DVD.
You ended up buying them, yeah.
I bought the DVD, and it was a DVD back in the day, and I want my South African friends to know that, you know, I know, you know, for us now, South Africa's mainstream, obviously, because we live here, and then we're getting a lot of people that are like, I want to move to South Africa, I want to visit South Africa, and so forth. But again, there was a genesis to all that, and we're kind of going to tell you a little bit about it. But here's the funny part: South Africans need to understand that when they are like, wow, I can't believe Americans don't know about us. Trust me, they do everything in their power, from our education system as a youth for hundreds of years to make us not even look at Africa on any level. So for that video to make it through the crack and to start this, or at least start our journey, you know, that's different.
It is, and I always think that the day that we saw it was also a fluke.
Yeah, it was a super fluke.
It was a fluke. So when I think about it, saying a seed was planted, like, that's how I think about the fact that it was a fluke. Because, and I will tell this as an aside, I wasn't supposed to be at home that day. I was supposed to be working, and I went home for lunch because it was one of his days off, and I took us some lunch, and he wasn't even really paying attention to it. I don't even know what happened, but I know we turned the TV because he was working, and on some stuff on the computer, and he just happened to pop it up, and I dropped the sandwich off and was getting ready to go back to work, and it caught my attention, and we both just sat there like, what is happening? I was late returning from work, but I didn't care. But it caught our attention at that very moment, and then that night we tried to find it again.
Couldn't find it.
Because we caught it in the middle. We didn't see the whole thing. But we went in a little rabbit hole because we wanted to know more about what was happening. So to me, that interest is what's kind of started. And we were like, what else is in this video? What else is there? What else is he talking about? It still didn't prompt us to like want to visit. No. We just wanted to know.
Yeah, it was interesting because we don't never see these things. As being in America, mainstream, we're mainstream folk. We're right in the middle of everything. I was in my 30s. You was in your somewhere thereabouts. And we just don't see these things. So you guys that are South African, don't think that we're getting all this knowledge and education and exposure to Africa. In America, you're just not. And even to this day.
Right.
So that's why we do what we do. We ultimately, we do tourism. We want people to come see it the way we saw it. So let me back it up a little bit. Now, this is who we were back then. We wasn't always entrepreneurs. We started our entrepreneurial journey around 2008. But I think at the time you were doing we had a PT company, and we was doing our thing. So, but I was still working for the government. I was still on U.S. Secret Service. I think at that time I was on the vice president's detail. The vice president at the time was
Cheney.
No, it wasn't Cheney. No, because I came with Biden.
Oh, when you came to South Africa?
When I came to South Africa,
oh, okay, that's when you were working.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I was under a couple of working for the Secret Service and under a couple of different vice presidents. So that's neither here nor there. So. So that's who we were. We were professional people who was making out pretty good. We were doing all the things that we were supposed to be doing in America. Being a young couple, being successful,
being progressive,
thinking a certain way, doing certain things, like all the stuff. And but then, we talked about before that, like, before we got to where we were, at the time, and I keep in mind I'm employed, we thought if you get to a certain dollar amount, you get to a certain level, like things will open up for you. Like you can just do different things and things will just be, 5,000% better. And so I think that's what keeps people working and 100%. Pushing towards it. We just happened to get there fairly early on. And, for various reasons, I mean, we kind of, it wasn't given to us. Obviously, we worked hard. Yeah. And I think, what helped us out was the fact that, here I am, I'm at the top of my game. I'm doing very well for myself. My wife is doing well for herself, doctor of physical therapy and all this. And I think we had just started the clinic. I mean, not the clinic, the home health side. Before we got to the clinic. So we was doing it. And but it didn't feel like, it just felt like a lot of work.
It felt like work, and it felt like when we were talking to you and to you guys that are listening, it felt like we were doing what we were told we were supposed to do in an effort to get what we were told we were supposed to get. So as we were doing all this work, I'm like, yes, I came out of PT school, I got this doctorate. Now they say become a director of a clinic. So I did the directorship. And then like after you're director, make sure you open your own practice. So I opened my own practice. And I'm like, okay, now when I get this directorship and when I get this doctorate and when I get this brick and mortar own facility, it's supposed to come with things. And it just came with more work.
Yeah. Obviously, you guys have heard people say, "Oh, when you become an entrepreneur, you work more." You work more. We work 6-7 days a week. Yeah. Keep in mind that I was actually still working for the government, and when I wasn't working at the office, and I didn't have set hours, nowhere near. It was like,
you didn't have set hours ever.
Yeah, it was like, hey, we need you to fly to Montana, and then I come back. Hey, you'll be back for a couple of days. Hey, and keep in mind you're working still. In the city, in DC, and then you got to fly somewhere else, and so it was a lot going on. But we was trying to be progressive. It was amazing. I think Barack Obama was the president at the time, and I was fortunate. A lot of people just only see the TV side of it, or the news side, and they form their opinions. But from my perspective, to see them doing what they were doing motivated me to do what I told Tasha to do. Absolutely. And what we were able to do. It motivated me. I was like, man, look at them. Yeah. And then I wasn't much older than me. Yeah, 5-6 years older than me, maybe. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? So I would see them. So that was amazing. I would tell you a story, but I'm gonna hold off on the Barack and Michelle stories because I got a few. So we was like, okay, and then all of a sudden, we had conversations about South Africa, and then what happened was, I get a call from our operations section. Hey, Mark, you want to go to South Africa? Oh man, look at this. So what I ended up getting on a trip to South Africa.
Now I'm gonna, as an aside, interrupt you because you and I both know. Yeah. That even the people you work with see Africa as this place that nobody really wants to go. So they thought they were punishing you.
Well, maybe not punished, but I would say they wasn't rewarding me.
Right. Okay.
That's
my take.
Because we go to a lot of places and very nice places, and I don't always get to go. Right. So. Yeah. It is what it is, and that's fine. I'm well over that. And but I got an opportunity to go to South Africa, and so how I felt was just like any other trip that I've been to.
Like, I'm just gonna go.
I've been everywhere, so it didn't matter to me. It was just a long plane ride, and then we get off. We're gonna do what we always do, and then we're gonna leave and go back to DC, and then go back to work and whatnot. Yeah. But I got here, and outside of what I saw and all these great, wonderful things, it was just how I felt.
How did you feel?
Well, it was different. Keep in mind, I've jumped off many planes in many countries all around the world. And, you know, when I got off the plane, I think that it was the people. It was like an overwhelming of people that you know, South Africans are like, you know, what do you mean people look like you? Yes, that's what we see. Because normally you don't see a lot of people that look like us. Especially on the job that I had, it was very few of us, like a few that looked like us. So it was delightful to get off a plane in a country and everybody looked basically like me.
And that was the first time you felt that?
The very first time I jumped off planes everywhere. And guys, let me explain something to you. I was in the military for a long time. Then I was Secret Service, and I traveled a lot. Secret Service, you travel everywhere. You're everywhere. You're everywhere. And but you're always that one, you know, black person off to the side, which is fine. But this time it was different. So everybody treated me so well, and I couldn't believe how it made me feel to be treated the way that I was treated. So at the end of the day, we do the trip. It went great. I met so many South Africans, and then of course I stayed in contact with several of them. And then one in particular asked me to come back. So I'm in traffic in Washington, D.C. metropolitan area, which those people from the DMV, we know that traffic is notorious. So he's calling me, and I didn't answer the phone the first time because I think I was listening to Sirius Radio or something like that. And then one day I said, okay, let me pick up. Hey, what's going on? And he was like, hey, Mark, when you coming back? So anyway, I ended up coming back. And so I'm not gonna say I put my experience behind me, but I wasn't really like forward thinking about it until he called me and he was like, hey, you know, why don't you come?
Because the truth is, this is how I look at how it made us feel. The people here made you feel so good.
Yeah,
they made you feel so good. They made you feel some type of way about yourself. I mean, you're already a confident person. You're already, you know, very self-aware. But to have a bunch of people around you that were like-minded, because you all were in law enforcement together, and then to have someone continue to reach out to you, hey, come, because to me, if he had never extended the visit, we wouldn't have come back.
No, I wouldn't have came back. But the funny thing about the whole thing, as I'm sitting here thinking, that what's the word I want to say? Like what I experienced as a black man, I never at the time experienced it before. And yeah, you might want to say, oh yeah, in the U.S. we got black this. I get it, not like this. Mm-hmm. This is on a whole nother level times 5, easy. And I didn't take it lightly, so it was hilarious. So he called me. He said, "Okay, we're coming." And then he said, "You know, obviously I could bring Tasha." And then I was like, "Can I bring my mother?" You know, at the time she was alive. And I brought her. And then I was like, "Can I bring my daughter?" And I brought my daughter. So Savannah was like 11 years old. Yeah. About 11. Yeah. Now she's 26.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I was kind of watching my wife because she had never been, you know, she goes wherever I go. If I go somewhere, she's going to go. And she was like, we got in the car and you sat behind me in the car. So I'm talking to Zach because I had been there before. And I was watching her because she didn't know what to expect because you was a person who wanted to come to Africa, right?
I was a person that did not want to come to Africa. And even when you said we were coming, I was still like, I'm glad you had a good time when you went. Yeah. But like, what are we really doing? Yeah. Like, what are we walking into? I didn't have any expectations. Yeah. The expectations that no, I didn't have any expectations. I was more worried and anxious because I'm like, what are we walking into? Yeah. Where are we staying? Listen, all the things that we hear from you guys, am I going to be able to eat the food? Can I drink the water?
We've been there. I think we've been there.
I've said all those things. Yeah. And that's, I'm in the back of the car and I'm looking, I'm like, oh my God, like where are we going? Where are we going? Where are we going? And then
all you was doing was just staring out the window. You were just looking.
Staring out the window. He's laughing at me because I'm staring out the window. But then let's back up to when they met us at the airport because that was the first like thing that took my anxiety on a notch. Had a sign waiting for us, welcome to the African Blank family,
sign,
beautiful sign. Yeah. Our daughter kept it in her room, hanging up until she graduated from high school. And they have this sign, they grab our bags, they greet us, it's wonderful. I'm like, okay. Someone greets us at the airport, okay, we're good. Get in the car, looking around, looking crazy. And then at the time they lived in Midstream Estates, and then Midstream Estates, you guys can look it up on your own, is huge, it's still growing, it's a beautiful place to be. And I'm still worried about like where we're gonna sit, but I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know what to expect. So I'm very, very nervous. And we get to their house and
it's stunning.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then my thought was, am I staying here?
Yeah.
Okay. The way they made us feel was like, oh, this is what it means to be hosted properly.
Yes.
This is what this means. And it took about 2 days. So finally, the lady that was hosting us was like, we're hosting you. Please allow us to do what South Africans do. I mean, I got my shirt that says Ubuntu is currency for a reason, because the way they treated us really was the highest level of Ubuntu that you could possibly get. And by the end of those 10 days, which is why we love our 10-day trip and why it's our most popular, is because in those 10 days, I went from personally seeing a video, not wanting to come to Africa at all, being surprised at being in Africa, being anxious about coming, being so worried about everything, to within 10 days crying before I left. That happened in 10 days. So all of the things that your brain can go through, it's crazy. So you go through those 10 days, and then you get back home and something else happens. And that's kind of where we were trying to define and try to put into words.
Like, keep in mind, what, 2011, 2012?
11, 12.
And we were just trying to figure out, like, what happened to us?
Yeah.
Like, you know, hey, we're these progressive people. We got our business. I work for the U.S. Secret Service. I'm traveling the earth. I'm doing all this stuff. I've been around the country. I've met so many people. I've done so much. But for some odd reason, we couldn't put our finger on what it was that we experienced together. So we was like, you know what? This is what we're going to do. Because we do like a lot of people. Everybody that comes on our trip, on all our trips, no matter what trip you come on, if you come by yourself, you're trying to find somebody to talk to South Africa about. And those that hear this know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you come with someone, let's say you're just a couple, and you know you didn't come with a big group, you are like, oh my God, and they are talking. So that's why you keep hearing so many people. I want to go through a journey. I want to go through a journey too, and you need to have that journey. So with us, we was like, well, okay. Was there anybody to talk to about it? No. Did we have a plethora of YouTube videos to watch? No. Was YouTube even popular back then?
It was popular.
It was a
thing.
It
wasn't like that.
Yeah. It was like, okay, YouTube. There was no TikTok or Instagram or anything like that. So
it was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was like 2012. And so we just decided, we said, okay, you know, at this point I have resigned from my position. We opened up a brick and mortar clinic. All kind of things happened over that time frame. And then we was doing well for ourselves. So we decided that we were going to go to Cape Town.
Yeah.
Because we had never been to Cape Town.
And in our own defense, which is also in your defense, when you hear South Africa, the only place you ever hear about is Cape Town.
Yeah, which is good.
So because his first visit was here in Johannesburg, and then my first visit was Johannesburg, we were kind of like, well, we have to go to Cape Town because that's what everyone talks about. Yeah. And then we're like, okay, well, let's go spend some time in Cape Town, but we still need to determine like where we were mentally when we were like, should we go see if we can live there? Because some things happened between
Yeah,
11
well,
and 13.
I think what happened was we just kept talking about it.
We never stopped talking.
We just kept talking about it. I mean, everything that we experienced, we talked about it ad nauseum. And what happened was, I think that because we were talking about it ad nauseum and the experience we had only in those days.
10 days, yeah.
Plus the time I came on the job, it made everything else on the U.S. side kind of pale.
Yeah.
Everything paled in comparison, and I'm just using that term, but it didn't measure up. It was like, yeah, we go to nice places, we do the nice things. I mean, truth be told, before we came here, we would go to the Hamptons on a regular basis, especially in the summer. Martha's Vineyard, we travel. We go places. Matter of fact, when I met her, I told her the first thing she needs to do is get a passport.
Yeah, I thought he was trying to kidnap.
But she needed to get a passport because I like to travel, and I like we did the cruise stuff. We did the whole Jamaicas and the Caribbean,
and all
but
that stuff.
Everything just seemed a whole lot less. So when you came to me and said, "Hey, do you want to go to so and so?" I'm probably going to say, "I'm not really interested." Remember those?
Yeah.
Those?
Yeah.
I think we went to Dominican Republic one time with some friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dior was nice, but again, because he's a traveler, we didn't do anything on the beaten path. He was like, "Let me show you how it's really done when you travel."
Yeah.
So we did some other stuff, talked to some local people, and had a good time. But he was adamant about me traveling. And because I come from a place where that's not something that we really do per se, we just go see family other places. When we got the passport, my very first stamp was to South Africa. That was my first stamp. So for me, it holds a very dear place because it got me my first passport stamp, and it got me, I have the most passport stamps to South Africa than any other place we went to after that, because once we understood how it felt to be here.
Yeah, because it's more of a feeling.
It's definitely, and we say that, and it sounds terrible, but you really do have to feel South Africa. So when we were thinking about the transition, like, we're like, okay, we got to go to Cape Town. So then,
yeah. So we went to Cape Town. Tasha found us a great spot. The South Africans know that Camps Bay, Clifton area is pretty nice. Again, back then the exchange rate was like 8-1, 9-1, something like that. But again, we were pretty progressive people. We owned our own company. We were doing pretty well. So Tasha said, "Okay, Mark, I found a place for a couple months. We can go to Cape Town." We got there. We had a bomb time.
It was great.
It was incredible. I'm not even going to front. We met a lot of people. We was all over the city. We actually rode in a minibus taxi. So a couple times people were like, y'all
what are you doing? I'm like, in a minibus taxi.
Yeah. So I know, currently, in the last couple of years, a few people been coming to South Africa, and people think, oh, we don't do this no more. We don't do that. A lot of things that we kind of noticed that they're doing, we did that some time ago. Years and years ago. Yeah. So they're discovering the Woolworths and all this stuff, and years and years ago we've done that. So when we say there's levels to this thing, it goes beyond that. Eventually it won't be so enamoring to go to certain things.
Right.
It's nice to go
It'll just be your normal.
It's your normal, and that's where we are today.
Yeah.
And that's why we're always looking for something, something a little bit upmarket. Things that speak to us, but I will go to a chicken licking. I will. You'll find me up in there, But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But we got down there and we had the most amazing time, and we learned more about South Africa. We spent a lot of time in Guguletu.
We did.
Remember, every week we used to go to the Mzoli's every week and whatnot.
It was bumping.
Yeah, it's not there anymore, but those that understand, they know. Mzoli be bumping, and the food was amazing. And then we got a chance to just spend 2 months in the area.
Back up.
What?
Mzoli's was my first, second proper introduction to a Shishinyama. Now, I had been to a bride before. They had a bride for us. Our first, the first night we got to South Africa. and it rained.
It's a barbecue, but better. I'm just telling you.
But better, yeah, definitely better.
Yeah.
And it rained the night we got here, so this and the ancestors were happy, and they cooked us some food. But my first shishinyama was at Nzoni's, and I was like, why is there meat hanging everywhere? I'm like, what do they want? They're like, no, you just go pick out what you want to eat. And I'm like, what? I'm like, but who's gonna cook it? They're like, don't worry about it. Take it to the back. Yeah. They're seasoned up and cooking for us. So this was my first.
Yeah, it was amazing.
My first intro to a proper.
And we went every week.
No, it was great.
I forgot what day he wanted to come, but we would go.
Yeah.
And so like I said, we was getting the South African experience across the board.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, and so we do have a history here, but. Let me go back to when my daughter came and my mother came. They enjoyed it. Yeah. They thought it was the best thing. We went on a game drive, and that was incredible. We went to Kruger. They drove us all the way from here, from Johannesburg and that's a good drive. But actually, truth be told, I drove one car, and I was like, "Oh, I'm driving on the right side. This is crazy," So we had all those experiences, but then I drove after about an hour. I'm like, "This ain't nothing," But it was in my mind. But once I got past it, but the good part about it was they absolutely enjoyed it. They thought it was the best thing ever. My mother, she couldn't believe how well she was treated because she was an elder at the time, and she got treated well. She absolutely. The food she enjoyed. She told me, she said, "Mark, when you took me to Hawaii or Maui," she said she really didn't like the food there, but the food here, she absolutely enjoyed. And like I said, she just, and the whole time, once she got back, obviously she didn't get a chance to come back, but she talked about it she would call me, and I would go over to where she was. And she just wanted to talk about South Africa.
There's nobody else to talk to it with.
Yeah, because most people don't understand what you're talking about. So, and then my daughter, when she graduated high school in 2016, we had her a very nice reception. It was ridiculous, nice reception. Everybody was there. It was
catered.
It looked like a wedding reception.
Yeah.
But it was just a high school reception. After graduation and whatnot.
Graduation party.
I'm a Porsche guy, as you guys might know. I let her drive one of them over. Yeah. And she pops out, and I'm a star by Prince.
Yeah.
All that, and it was great. But then it was over. She was like
3 days later.
Yeah, she's like, so when are you taking me back to South Africa? So then I remember.
Yeah.
And then I brought her back to South Africa, and we spent about 10 days to 2 weeks here. And she fell in love with it. So the thing is, once you come, it changes your trajectory. It makes you think about things completely different. Go for it.
No. just talking about Savannah's experience. Uh-huh. So she came for the first time. She was like, I think she was like 12 or 13, but it doesn't really matter. So she came for the first time. And she talked about it all those years and never had a chance to come back. Until she graduated and was like, when are you taking me back? But she thought about it so often that from her first visit over here, that is when she decided she wanted to be a flight attendant. Yeah. That's what she does right now. But it was a visit to South Africa that put that thought in her head, that solidified that thought when she had that second visit with her dad in 2016. And it set her off on a path that would not have been, had she not been on a plane traveling 15 hours with her dad.
Yeah. So, it's done a lot. It's done a lot for our family. Just embracing South Africa and whatnot. But let's get back to us here. Now we're in Cape Town. We're there we're there for 2 months. But for like a week in that 2 months, we decided that we needed to go to Cape Town. Go to Johannesburg. Mm-hmm. So we went back to Johannesburg, saw some of our friends, because we had made a lot of friends. And that week was amazing. We stayed in an Airbnb.
Yeah.
That one was okay.
Yeah.
But most of the few Airbnbs that we were messing with, they wasn't that good.
Yeah. So.
And that's why when we do our tours, And people are like, oh, I want to get an Airbnb. No, you need to get a proper location. Yeah. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with Airbnb. I mean, if you like it, that's great. But for the levels that we were on, we were always expecting a little bit more. And I think when people come, they should be expecting a little bit more. So that's why we do what we do. And that's why people, when y'all see all those videos with people that don't came with us, they're like, man, they did it. They set us up for success. Because we want you guys to have the same levels of success that we did. But when we was here, we went to some amazing restaurants in Joburg. We went to some amazing locations. We saw a lot of stuff. We went to music joints. We did everything. Yeah. And we was like, Joburg is really, 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 really wide open. So we went back to Cape Town. Mm-hmm. We finished up our time. And when we left, keep in mind, in December, it's summer here in the Southern Hemisphere. And you can't get no more Southern Hemisphere than South Africa. And man, we messed around, and it was a nice summer day.
And we had to get on the plane.
And they put us on. Then we had to get a taxi, but they took us to the airport. Yeah. And it was horrible, because we were actually leaving. And what happened was we were used to being here. Mm-hmm. People was used to seeing us. People was used to, when it was time for a certain dinner or especially breakfast, they knew we was coming.
Looking for it.
Yeah, and we would pass the same people.
Usual.
Yeah, it was incredible. Again, in the U.S., nobody speaks to you. You can go to Dunkin' Donuts every day. They wouldn't care. But we was going to nice places, so we really fell in love with South Africa then. And then, our thoughts were, okay, we need to figure out a way. We need to figure out a way to come here and be here in South Africa properly. Mm-hmm. And so, I'm doing all my research. As a lot of people say, I'm doing my research. I was calling the research department now. But I was looking up things and trying to read this and then trying to figure out how to do this and figure out how to do that. Because the visa process was the visa process back then, but there was nobody to talk to. There's no one. You just kind of like, okay, let me read. When I talk about, when I hear people talking about the visas, and I'm like, did they actually read the Immigration Act of 2002? Yeah. South Africa has a proper immigration system. It has its challenges, but they do have it written down how it's supposed to work. So I said, well, okay, this is what we're going to do. So at this point, we were still taking time off to come back to Johannesburg.
Yes, every chance we got. Every chance we got. And you were a little bit, more flexible. This dude was looking at ticket prices every day because at the time South African Airways had a direct flight that left at 11 o'clock every night. He knew that.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, oh, there's a flight, it's like $700, I'm leaving on Thursday.
Sometimes it'd be $6-something.
And he would be like, I'm leaving. I'm like,
time ago.
You just gonna go? He's like, yeah. He would just go because the ticket price was affordable.
Yeah.
And I would take him to the airport and he'd be like, he'd rent a car and he would have his time and he would figure it all out when he got here. But those are all, that's our journey, that's our process. I mean,
but you came a lot of times too.
No,
I just came more because what happened was you guys probably saw in the intro where Tasha had her Barbies. Well, I actually started a store. Actually, we had a Barbie store at Southgate Mall, and we had it for about a year and a half, 2 years. We cut a deal. I'm not going to bore you with the story because some people think Barbies have been around in South Africa for a long time. The long time started 2014 because I distinctly remember. Yeah. And we had a lot of meetings and whatnot. And they decided we're going to start bringing, the South Africa.
And let's just be more specific. They had Barbie. And every doll is not a Barbie doll. Let me just clarify that. They had white Mattel Barbies here on the continent. What they did not have on the continent, not just here in South Africa, was the African American or the black version of a Mattel Barbie. Yeah. They did not get her on the continent in the country of South Africa until 2014 when Mark and I brought them here for our store, Dreamhouse Toys. So I want to put that out there.
Well, and also to add to that, they knew the toy companies, obviously Mattel had a subsidiary company here. It was called Just Fun. And they knew about them. They knew all about them, but they told us, they told me in particular, especially in the meeting, well, they don't think they would do well because they say black equals poor and nobody wants to buy a black doll. That was the story. There was a few more things. And I was like, so I kind of, went to bat. I'm a business guy. I hate to tell y'all guys this, but that's kind of what I do. So I fought the good fight, and then we had some exclusivity for a couple of years. And for those 2 years, we had a store full of dolls that looked like
Black Barbie.
Yeah, and they, specifically brought in all black Barbies and the ones that we wanted, just so we can set it up in the store. And we did it for 2 years. Had a big, to-do-who and all that good stuff. So for us, we've had a long relationship already at that point with South Africa for a long time. So here we are, and so we're going back and forth, and we're just like, and as the years went on, our business got bigger. We was doing more, hiring people, doing all this stuff, but it was always a thing where we was like, South Africa.
Got to get back.
Yeah, and again, there was nobody really talking about it.
We came several times a year.
Yeah, several times.
Several times a year.
So when you hear us say, you got to come on these visits, we know what those visits do. Mm-hmm. They make you do this. I'm just going to tell you at the end of the day. When we say come on visits and then come on visits, those that come on several visits back to back, not say back to back every week, but they come on a regular basis, you gotta learn this place. Yeah. You gotta get used to being here. Mm-hmm. You gotta understand that you're not in America. Right. You gotta understand that you are in South Africa, and they have a whole different way of doing things, but it works. In a lot of instances, it does work. They have their challenges, but I think if you come here like we did and just take the time, because we had time to get ourselves in order, decide what we was going to do, and so forth. All the same advantages that we have now were there then, but we didn't jump on a situation that will put us in harm's way. Correct. Because we had our companies in the States, and so the flexibility for us we were able to come here a lot. But at the same time, we could have went other places. We could have checked out every other African nation. We'd be on our 43rd African nation trying to figure out what we want to do.
Well, I think what we decided after our initial investment, and by initial investment, I don't mean the trip in 2011. Yeah. I think our real initial investment was 2013 when we stayed 2 months. Yeah. After that initial investment, you don't see what I didn't see. It's coming to South Africa as a vacation or a waste of time or a waste of money. I saw coming to South Africa as a respite. I saw South Africa as an investment in myself. Yep. I saw South Africa as an investment in this country as a whole. I saw an investment in its people. It was an investment in myself, if I didn't say that already. Because what it gave me while I was here, I was looking for over there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What we thought we were trying to get to with all the work and the hours and, they're moving the goalposts and so forth, we found it here almost immediately. Like that. We found it, but then we didn't want to fumble the ball. Mm-hmm. So we took our time. We knew it was here. Mm-hmm. We'd put the ball down. We'd jump back on the plane. Mm-hmm. And it'd be nice and warm here, and you fly back to Dulles International Airport.
With that heavy coat on,
and it's freezing, and you gotta hope your car start, and you just be like, man, this is crazy. And then I think what happens is, and what happens too, is the fact that, like for me, you might not believe this, but around 2015, I think, I literally stopped talking about South Africa because it was almost offending some people. Absolutely. And they didn't understand, what I was saying, and I tried to explain it to them. And then all I can say is just, you're just gonna have to come see for yourself.
I mean, it got so bad that that we would go somewhere, we will have just come back from South Africa, and when he says it was offensive, he really means they came off as offended because they would say things like, why you keep going over there? Every time I turn around looking at your Facebook page, you in South Africa. Have you moved over there? Why are y'all always there? And I'm like, this is my money, my time, my energy. Like, why is it offending you that this is how I choose to spend my time? But people were really offended. Like, why are you always there? Why are you always there? And it was because what I was looking for was here.
Yeah. So we're going to leave the story here for the most part, but keep in mind, you know, we know, like, we can say on this date this happened, that happened, and so forth. But the feelings that we ultimately had, you know, we had to actually have this conversation just so we can talk about it, just that part, and whatnot. But at the end of the day, that's why we, you know, as business people, you know, set up a proper company to do tourism to South Africa, because believe it or not, in 2018, I think 2018, I literally, that's when we sold our company and we moved here. I'm just going to give you this tidbit, and then I'll give you the story later on in the next video. There was nothing formal. There was nothing, you couldn't just go online and say, hey, I want to have the experience like we had. It just didn't exist. I think I called and I went to a few travel agencies. They'd pull out some old dusty books, and then they'd say, hey, we can send you here, we can send you here, or whatever the case may be. But it wasn't proper. It was just whatever. Or as far as the black community was concerned, there was nothing formal. There was somebody with a flyer. They put it on social media, and then they would try to garner and get a trip to, you know, get a group of people to come and have some levels of an experience to South Africa. But what happened was they would come, how do we know? They would come and they wouldn't have the experience like we were having, because there was some that was like, you know what, that booked with us. They've been here before. Yeah. And then when they come on a tour with us, they're like,
I missed all of this.
This tour is a different thing, it's a different animal. But I just want you to understand that our tour that we do, those that come on our tour get it. Yeah. They totally get it, because they're like, wow, this is incredible. But again, we always tell them it's a journey. Yeah. It's a literal journey and whatnot. So we're gonna stop our journey here. And then maybe in the next video, you got anything that you want to say?
No. In the next video,
are you comfortable?
I am. I love my chair. Sorry, it's very comfortable.
Yeah, she loves this space because she comes in here and
look at my shoes and look at my dolls and get dressed and just kind of relax. I listen to my audiobooks in here. I read in here. It's just my own little space. And he's was on board to support me having this, so shout out to you. Thank you.
But it was a journey to even get here. It's not overnight, but again, we appreciate you guys watching this. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to the channel. We decided that we're going to go ahead and grow this channel, get it up there, so other people can see it and whatnot. And of course, our website, if you're looking at booking the trip, is therealsouthafrica.com. So all I can say is I will see you guys here in sunny South Africa.
I want to give a shout out to The Real South Africa, therealsouthafrica.com, and The Real South Africa on YouTube, Facebook, and any other platforms out there. Mark and Dr. Latasha Blanton, as always, they do a great tour and service, for the people. They do it top notch, 5-star, and they set the bar pretty high. And the bad part about setting the bar pretty high is that if you don't kind of match what they're doing, I can't be moving with you too much. Sorry, when somebody put the bar that high. So, I definitely want to give them, props, for the tour.
guys, you know that the Real South Africa, we do nothing but tourism, and everything that we do is based in South Africa, almost. A lot of you guys realize that we did go to, where did we go? We went to Victoria Falls, and we had an amazing experience. We got an opportunity to talk to the owner of the location that we really like, and we know that you guys are gonna like too. So I'm gonna put that information, actually I'm gonna put our little interview we did with her with this as well, so you guys can check that out. But at the same time, we did a lot of stuff there, and what we wanna bring to you is our opportunity to fly over the falls. I'm gonna put that video together, so look at it pretty close. Now, the good part about all of this, so obviously we got great packages coming to Joburg, Cape Town, Durban. We also got great packages going to Safari out in Kruger National Park and all of that. The good part about all of it is that when you guys decide to say, you know what, I want to do what the Blantons did, I want to do what Real South Africa does, then you could pick your Johannesburg package, your Cape Town package, your Durban package, and at the same time, you can actually scroll down a little bit further, click where you see Victoria Falls, and then we will add 4 more days to your trip. So if you're coming for a 6-day to Johannesburg and you're like, I want to go to Victoria Falls, now you got a 10-day package, and you can book all of this on the website, therealsoutafrica.com. So we're making it easy for people to travel to South Africa. We're making it easy for people to go to Victoria Falls. We just want to make it easy for you and so forth. So all I can say is we'll see you guys here in sunny South Africa. All right, guys, this is Mark Edward Blanton from the Real South Africa. And guess what? Our visa services is back. We're going to be helping you guys with visas because we all know that it can be problematic to get a visa here in the Republic of South Africa. So what we have done, we partnered with a big company that will assist us, and we've checked them out. We recommend that their services are very proper. Of course, we go with proper here in the Republic of South Africa, and they can assist you. So if you have questions about, do I qualify for a visa, then that's when we have our consult. You get a consult with these guys. They will literally go through everything with you. And my expectations is for you to ask all the questions that you need to ask so you will know exactly which way to proceed. So they work in every arena of immigrations. So it would definitely help us who are looking to migrate to the Republic of South Africa. And all I can say is first, come on a trip, of course. And once you come on a trip, then you will be motivated to do all the work that needs to happen for you guys to come to South Africa properly. So all I can say is this is a great team. This is a great situation. All I can say is, again, reach out to us at outreach@therealsoutafrica.com. We will respond to you, and then you'll get an email, and then the process has began. Okay, so we will see you guys here properly in sunny South Africa. Do yourself a favor. Come to South Africa. Come to the Kruger and enjoy what is meant for you to enjoy. Look at this environment. Can't you see yourself enjoying yourself right here with the Real South Africa Travel and Tourism? Well, we can make it possible, and we could do this for you today. Go to our website, therealsoutafrica.com, and book, and you'll be part of something like this, something very special, something you can tell your friends and families that you did. And yes, this is Africa. This is the Africa that they do not want you to see, but we're going to show it to you, and we're going to make it available. And yes, we've been there ourselves, and we feel that this is the best experience that you can actually have here in the Republic of South Africa. So come here on safari with us. And of course, visit our website, therealsoutafrica.com. You have reached the Real South Africa, and we are your travel and tourism company based here in South Africa. And of course, we are always talking about safari lodges. They are one of the best places to go to, and you're going to be able to experience it with us. As you see, going on safari is absolutely exhilarating. But in this case, we always do 5-star safari lodges. And in this case, it is no different. This one here is very, very special because this is built on a train, and this is the only one in the entire world. It is located in Kruger National Park, and we want you guys to come to experience this 5-star opulent experience. It is amazing. I can't explain it to you any better than what you're seeing here. All you need to do is reach out to us at therealsouthafrica.com, and then of course you can go ahead and click on Kruger on one of the tabs or contact us via email. But as you see, the food is amazing, everything is nice, and this is what you deserve. So let's go ahead and make this a normal event for yourself and come to South Africa. You will be amazed. All right, guys, welcome to The Real South Africa Travel and Tourism. We are a travel company based in Johannesburg. However, we can get you to Durban because look at what you're looking at. Isn't that amazing? Can't you imagine yourself just hanging out here for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days? I'm trying to tell you, you're probably not going to want to leave like a lot of our guests from the past. However, all you have to do to come here is reach out to our website, therealsouthafrica.com, and you can come and enjoy and see what South Africa is really about. There's so much here, so much to do between the beaches, between the culture, between the food and everything else. And of course, the people here in South Africa in this place called Durban. We will see you here in sunny South Africa.
much for spending time with us today. If you like what you saw, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the notifications button so you don't miss out on all things The Real South Africa. Thanks again.